Good afternoon. We are going to begin the webinar now. I know people are still coming in, but my name is Marcia Woon Choy. I'm the CEO of Action Coach here in Jamaica. And this afternoon, our webinar is going to be on working from home effectively. And so I'm welcoming all of you because I know you're here online because all of you are probably working from home or have teams working from home. And as we go through this COVID crisis, are probably experiencing some challenges. So today I'll be going through a short webinar in which I'll be providing you with some tips and some suggestions on how to weather this period of working from home. So first thing is, you know, when you're working from home, it can be, very distracting. And so having the freedom to create a working environment now that matches your preferences when working from home is important. And it can grant you the opportunity, if you set it up correctly and taking advantage of this new working environment to actually work more effectively, creatively, and enjoyably. So I want you to lean into the new possibilities. So, I'm also a John Maxwell coach, and one of the things he says is look for the adversities. Out of the adversities, there are opportunities. So yes, we have to work from home, but I want you to kind of lean into some new possibilities that are arising from you working at home because it gives you the opportunity to work more efficiently, creatively, and enjoyably if you implement some of these things I'm going to teach you. So let's look at how we can make the best out of our untraditional job situation so you can come up to the right place of enjoying what you're doing while facing the challenges. So, although working from home can offer an oasis of concentration and freedom, which is true because you don't have everybody else at the office and all these incoming calls, it doesn't come without its challenges. So what I'm going to do is start a poll now, and I want everybody to let me know what are, of the three issues I'm going to put on the screen, which ones pose or which ones are you facing as an issue right now. So I'm going to launch the poll. So you're seeing the poll. Which of these issues ring true for you as you work from home? Is it family members, roommates, and pets can pose as a potential distraction? Is it that some people can't stay focused enough to maintain productivity when unsupervised? So no, you don't have anybody looking at you, no manager over your shoulder. Or working from home can create an always on mindset, which means when you're working from home, you feel as if you're just working all the time. You don't have those cues that would say to you, okay, it's time to work, 8:30, we have a break, we have lunch time, we have another break, it's go home time. We don't have that anymore. So right now, we always feel as if we're always on. So which one of those are challenges, or which one of these issues are ringing true for you right now? Hmm. All right, so our voting continues. Let's see, our polling is continuing. Okay, I don't want you to type in the chat. I want you to actually use the poll and choose the option. I see people putting answers in the chat. So we're doing a poll. All right, we have a couple more people to vote. If anybody has found the polling screen, if they're having issues. All right, we're almost at, okay, more people are coming in, more people voting. Give you a couple more seconds. I'm going to stop in a few more seconds. All right. I'm going to end the poll right now. We're at 80% or 80 odd percent. So I'm going to end the poll. All right, give me two more. Give me 10 more seconds, 10 more seconds. Okay, see some more people voting. All right, great. So I'm going to end the poll right now. So these were the results that we got. So what most people are saying is that actually 69% said working from home is creating an always on mindset, causing people to work too long and too hard. And then what we had as a second more frequent answer was family members, roommates, and pets can pose as potential distractions. So either some people are working longer hours and they're be distracted by people around them. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing the poll right now. Okay, great. All right, so those were the issues. So those were the issues that rang true for most of the people online. So no matter what challenges or issues you might face from working at home, there are strategies you can employ and some new habits, and I'm going to say new habits because they're going to be new habits that you can create to help ensure your success. Before this virtual environment and this freedom of working from home, you had a set of habits. You know, you'd get up, okay, you'd go through some morning ritual, you would then commute to work, you'd get into work, you'd get yourself ready at your desk, etc. And you knew what time it was to go home, leave, and you would have your go home ritual that you would go through. So now, working virtually, we have to develop a whole new set of habits. So for starters, the first thing is you will need to create an environment where you can be successful. So I know this is a challenge because not everybody has a nice big house where you have a nice home office which is separated and like my own here, and then you can have your own space. That's not so. So for many of us, we're sharing the space with our kids who are also being homeschooled. And so they're also needing their desk and their space. So if you do happen to have a spare room to use as an office, that's great. But not everybody does. But if you don't, you first of all need to designate an area of your home specifically for getting work done. So I know Andreen, my business, my events and office manager is on the session with us. And one of the things that she did actually when she started to work from home is that she created her space, a separated space, which was mommy's working space. And then she created another space, which was the kids' school space. And everybody knew that this was their space and this was mommy's space. You will have to do the same thing if you don't have a separate room. So you really need to make sure that you have that area designated. Please don't get up one day today and say, okay, I'm going to work from the bed. Then tomorrow, well, I work from the patio. All right. And then Wednesday, I will work from the sofa. And you just look around choosing somewhere to work from. No. We're creating new sets of habits. So you need to make sure that, listen, just as I have a space designated at work, I'm going to designate a space at home that will be where I will work from consistently. So try to find an area where you can set up as well all of your work supplies. So that's another important thing. We're now working from home. You really need to set it up, whichever space you have chosen, like a workstation, like a desk. So what are the office supplies I need? I'm going to need my pen, my stapler, whatever it is that I need. Everything needs to be there and you need to keep them there. Don't have them traveling all over the house with you to operate from the bedroom or wherever. Working from the kitchen table for some people may seem like a good idea, or the dining table. However, if you are using the same space for other activities, one of the things you're going to have to keep doing every single day then is packing up your office. So try and choose a space that is quiet so you can focus on the task at hand. And if you anticipate spending hours on end at a desk, then look into investing into an adjustable standing desk. So there are many people who have different, like I know Stationery Center Limited, they have a lot. That's one of my clients. that they have different supplies that they have for you for working from home. Desks, chairs, things that you'll be able to raise, pedestals to put your computers on, whatever it is. And right now, even the chair I am sitting on, I got specifically for working from home recently. I'd gone through many different chairs over my 10 years of working from home. And one of the things I recognize is if you don't have a good chair, you're going to end up in back pains and you will not be as productive and as effective as you should. So really and truly, folks, you have got to find the right tools. If you need to invest in it or make sure that you have a chair which works well for you. So at the end of the day, you are not having back pains or neck pains or anything else. So you want to make sure you're promoting good health. If you're working with a small space, so you have a small space, you're not sure exactly how to design it into a home office working space, you know, all of you love your apps. So there's this app called Pinterest. So I would suggest go on Pinterest and look for some inspiration, because on it they'll have different things about, okay, so if you have a small space, how can you make it into a nice working space? So check out Pinterest and see what they have for some inspiration for yourself. But please follow this tip. Do not get up and work from bedroom today to then sitting on the patio and then changing places all day long. Have a set place that you're working from. You are at home, but you are at work. The other thing is get your apps in order. And what do I mean by that? You'll need to set up your technology. So right now, I have at my desk my laptop that I'm looking at you on. Then I have to my right a computer monitor that I can extend my display to and work from two screens. Now you don't have to have, but it actually does help, especially if you're doing a lot on Zoom or on online as you're doing right now because you're working from home. But the other thing I'll say to you is that many of us have a phone as well. We have our iPads or our tablets and our computers. So one thing you want to do is set up your technology so that if you can have them syncing across the devices. Like I am all Apple. So I have MacBook, I have iPhone, I have iPad. And so ideally I'll have multiple devices enabled with all of my work apps. So I can actually, if I get a call somewhere, I can actually just take it and be able to access my information at my fingertip without necessarily having to go into the office. So in other words, make sure that your phone is equipped with everything you use on your computer. And as a matter of fact, my iPhone 10 phone actually holds way more and has more memory than my actual laptop. So this way, if the need arises and you need to take a meeting on the go, then you'll be prepared because you have the ability to do so. So some good suggestions for apps are Zoom, because it can go right across all devices. You can have Asana for project organization. Again, the apps go across the devices. Google Suite, Microsoft Teams. So look for different applications, folks, that allows you to be able to work across the various devices. So get all your apps in order. Remember, working from home requires you to plan to do so effectively. All right, next one. Put your commute time to good use. All right, this is about the habits that we have to create again. So once you begin working remotely, you can spend the time you would have been commuting doing something good for your health. You have actually gained maybe an hour or an hour and a half of time daily versus when you had to get up and commute. You don't have the kids to drop off and you don't have to go to work. So the question is, how are we using that additional hour and a half to 2 hours? So instead of starting your day stressing out about getting somewhere on time or sitting in traffic, let's invest that time in a ritual that creates a calm and clear state of mind. Right now, folks, as the days pass, as the weeks passed, and as the months have passed, people's energy level, people's mindset, everything is becoming, people are slowing down, they're feeling more depressed because of the uncertainty, and you've heard a lot about mental health now being extremely important. So spend some time getting into a ritual, invest in a ritual that creates a calm and clear state of mind. So for example, I have always bookended my mornings and my days. So my days are bookended. What does that mean? I have a morning ritual and I have an evening ritual. Remember, I work from home mostly, although we have an office. I've always worked from an office home for the last 10 years, home office for the last 10 years. And one of the things I have is a ritual. My alarm goes off. I go through my usual, brush my teeth, wash my face, everything that has to happen, make my coffee, sit down with my coffee to do my morning devotions and my meditation. Then I will go and do my exercise in my exercise room here at home. And then I prepare myself to come down to work. It's a ritual. It's a practice. So right now, because your mental health and your state of mind is so important, I highly recommend that when you get up, you have that alarm that gets you up. You have that pre-morning routine. It can include meditation. I highly recommend that. Just deep breathing, just being in the moment, clearing your mind space. Getting more sleep is also important. Make sure that you're not Netflixing all night. So go to bed by a certain time, get your 8 hours of sleep at least. So you get up and you meditate first. Then how about just making yourself a nice breakfast and a nice healthy one? And then do some exercise, maybe yoga or even some light household tasks, or just simply, as I said, focusing on your breathing. But whatever feels good to you and helps you manage your stress right now in this time is time well spent. You know, I say to everybody that, listen, each of us are given 70. So that's what, 70 years on this planet. Let me give you another 10, maybe 80 years. And every single day that passes is another day of that year that's gone. So each day that passes, a piece of your life is going. Each minute that passes is a piece of your life that has gone. So we have the gift of time. And right now, time is so important with loved ones, with making sure that we're doing meaningful things, connecting with people, connecting even with our purpose. As we look at what's happening, so many people are losing family members. They're not even able to see or touch family members who are across the ocean. Like I have my sister and brother overseas. They can't see their siblings who are here and our mother. You know, so we have to recognize that during this time, choose wisely how you spend it. So this additional hour and a half of commuting time that you used to have, that you're no longer commuting, how about using it wisely? Invest your time. Don't just spend it. And as a matter of fact, I will say to you as a coach, why don't you allocate even half an hour of that time listening to a podcast? Every morning when I'm doing my devotions, I listen to a podcast, or I'm reading something that my pastor has sent me from my church, or I'm reading a book, maybe just half an hour, 20 minutes. Guys, this is all about getting as productive and during this time, learning and developing ourselves as much as we can. So make good use of that time that you used to commute. The other thing that we will suffer from is those noisy distractions. So some people said, okay, pets and family, etc. So when you're working from home, you'll want to anticipate some distractions while working from home. How many of you, while you've been working from home, suddenly has your neighbor's lawnmower going off, the garbage truck coming by, the dogs are in the background making all this noise as they get ready for their day? Or your dog has a tendency to bark at everything that walks by the house. So there are a million distractions. So the thing is, note your environment, try to identify the distractions early so that you can be prepared for them. So for sounds that you can't control, say for example, the dog yipping, the neighbor's dog, or the garbage truck coming by, one of the things that you can do to help you to focus and concentrate, or may I say, you may also have neighbors who are at home who have decided they want to play loud music. So whatever it is, so that you can control the noise around you, is you may want to try noise canceling headphones. So there are some of those headphones that you can get. You can put them on so that you can cancel out the noise around you so you can focus. However, you know, there are family members. So if other family members are home, speak with them about your schedule and why you need them to be quiet during parts of the day. I know some of you are saying speak with them. Okay, and I'm very serious. You're going to sit everybody down. We have to sit as a family and talk about the fact that mommy and daddy has to work from home and you kids have to go to school from home. Now, in order for us all to operate within this environment, these are the times that I work. These are the times that I will be working with my team. I'm not at work. I'm here working from home. So this is the schedule. And it's important that during this time when I'm working from home and I'm on at this and at my desk, that I not be interrupted. And so you need to sit down and have that conversation with them. And why you need them to be quiet during parts of the day is because you're probably having online meetings. So you say to them, today, especially, I'm going to have an online meeting with my team and I need you to be very quiet during that time. And this is especially for persons who cannot close a door because you're in the same space. And I'm speaking to all different types of environments that you may be in. All right. So you really do need to, as a family, meet and talk about how are we going to deal with the distractions and making sure that you aren't interrupted during certain parts of the day. Another thing to work from home, one way to work from home productively is to dive in as soon as you wake up. So some people may say, all right, I am an early riser or I am more productive later on in the day. So if you're one of those people that is more productive early in the morning, then the thing is just get up, go through your routine, and then start early. Just say, okay, I don't have to spend the time that I was doing commute, doing reading or something else. Instead, I'm going to use this time and start a little bit earlier. So dive into the work earlier as soon as you wake up and start with some easy tasks such as checking your messages and creating your to-do list for the day. Now, one of the things we say in Action Coach is actually we don't prepare our list in the morning. We do it as the last action of the day before. So before we leave our office, we train our clients and ourselves that we prepare our list of things to do the day before. So that when we wake up in the morning and we get to work, which is going to be our home office, we have already determined what our list for the day looks like. So if you already know what needs to be done therefore because you have prepared your list before, then just get it started. Then after that, you can take a break. I find that sometimes too, I will get up even earlier, go through my routine, and especially because the sun now is rising a lot earlier, and then I will actually start working a lot earlier because I am up. I've gone through my routine and I still have time to actually start everything a lot earlier. And then I take a break for breakfast shortly after. But the key is to set the tone for the day. You know, how you start your morning determines how the rest of your day goes. So set the tone for the day, being highly productive, focused, planned out everything so that you can progress gradually rather than some of us who go through this, you know, rush routine. Okay, I woke up late, I haven't had any breakfast, oh, let me just eat. And then I'm eating and trying to work all at the same time. And it's just crazy. So really organize yourself, right? Set the tone for the day, start productively so that you can progress gradually rather than to start late and then lose your motivation because everything has gone off. So we always have this saying which says, the early bird eats the worm. Make sure be early birders right now. All right, now, folks, remember I said, I don't know if you, some of you may know, I used to be a vice president with Citigroup. So I was a corporate executive. So I was actually, when I left that and started my own business, I no longer was walking into this office with everybody around me, as all of you are experiencing now working virtually. But then I recognized that, wow, if I don't create a ritual, then, as I said before, creating a ritual for getting your day started is a great way to spark your motivation. But then what I began to realize is if day to day I'm working from home, I need to get a routine that makes it feel like I'm going to the office. Because what I found in the initial stages was I would get up, yes, I'd have the coffee, I'd be in my workout clothes, then I'd come and sit down at the desk and I would find myself sitting in my workout clothes until midday working. And then it just felt as if the morning blended into the day and then it blended into, it just didn't have any start or end. And so this is because so when you actually set up a ritual for getting your day started, it's a great way to spark your motivation and act like you're going to the office. So the routine is preparing you accordingly for the day ahead, just like you would do if you're traveling to an office. I went through already, set your alarm, make your coffee, put yourself together. But remember I said I would sit in my chair sometimes in my workout clothes? No. Some of us are getting up out of bed and sitting at our computers in our PJs, pajamas. And you say, okay, well, this is really nice. I can work from home. We even had somebody from, they had it on Instagram that one of the lawyers that they had, because they had a meeting with lawyers that was virtual. And one of the lawyers was actually sitting in his bed, in his laptop with his shirt off having a meeting, which was absolutely unprofessional. So one of the things that I learned from another friend who was working from home is don't go into your office in your pajamas or into your casual clothes, workout clothes, or whatever it is. Actually dress yourself. So you're going to go into your wardrobe. It won't be your fancy suit and jacket and tie and, all of that stuff. Absolutely not. But you will say, okay, I'm going to go through my wardrobe. And I've already designated there are certain things that I will say are my work from home clothes. And then you actually go through the action of getting ready and putting on those work from home clothes. Then you travel, which means walk to your designated station to then begin your work. So so that tip is designate a set of work clothes so that you're not trying to find what to wear, so they can help you get into a work mode. And I'm going to tell you why. When you're dressed in your PJs or you're dressed in something else, shorts and whatever it is, and you just look absolutely awful. Somebody said she can't even show her video because she hasn't washed her face or brushed her teeth yet. That's just rolling out of bed straight to the call. And that's just not appropriate if you're going to be coming to work to meet with your teammates. So dress yourself, get into that work mode, because when you aren't, the way you feel about yourself and the way you look will determine how you will speak and sound on that call. So if you are lying off in the sofa with your PJs on and you have your laptop on or your phone, you are going to eventually lapse into a very familiar way of speaking, which is not a professional way of speaking. So as much as possible, imitate your work posture. So get into your work mode, by putting on your work clothes designated. You don't have to put on a suit, as I said, but change out, Mike, for God's sake, out of what you were sleeping in and act as if you went into an office. Now, go ahead, leave the house. Now, folks, although I have this on this slide, remember this, we are in quarantine. We're not in quarantine, but we are working from home. But I would say to you, if you can, leave the house. Now, what that means is, for some of us, leaving the house means we can walk around the block. We can actually say, okay, I'm going to go to the supermarket, or I'm going to drive out and do something. For us right now, if you're going to stay at home, it's good for you to take those outings. So depending on the type of work you need to do, you may also be able to actually take your laptop with you and sit outside and work. you know, by taking a lunchtime or doing something elsewhere just for that break, okay? Because the house can really get, we have what you call cabin fever. So for many of us, if you're working from home for a long time, you start to get cabin fever, and you start to feel very, very, you know, like the walls are caving in on you. So go out and work sometimes from somewhere else if you can. If the neighbors, for example, may have a lot of construction work going on, as can happen, or the kids are noisy when they get home from school, then you could say, all right, let me go and find somewhere where quiet outside and away from home where I can just sit down, social distance, and get some work done. All right, so that's one other thing. Leave the house as much as you can and when you can, just to get a different scene. Folks, this is the monster. Social media can be the detriment of your productivity. Everybody now is on their devices. This device is what is the biggest distraction and eater of productivity for everyone. It is something that if we do not get a handle on it, working from home is really going to make us as, you know, reduce our productivity significantly. So it can be tempting with no one around looking, with nobody saying, okay, you shouldn't be on your devices right now, because some of us have to be managed like that for some reason. It can be tempting to browse your social media accounts when you need a break. Now, the problem with the browsing is that it sucks you in. So if you're the type of person who can get sucked into just sitting there and your Instagram, and then you're just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, before you know it, you have lost your sense of time. So the thing is to set up some rules for yourself and say, no, I won't do it. Remember, I said you're going to have to develop a new set of habits working from home. You know the TV is calling you. The kids may be at the TV, or it may be that somebody else is there and they have on the TV, and you pass by and you're seeing something, or from your office you can see it, or from your designated station. You have to have rules about watching TV and about social media. And if you are that kind of person who will get sucked into it, then just say, I won't do it. Do you know that the only thing I have on my phone that makes any noise at all is the ringer? Everything else I have silenced, because I am not going to react to my phone. I am going to decide when I go to it. So no noise comes from this phone except it's a ring. And right now I have it on mute. So one thing you may want to do is to turn off all these notifications saying, okay, somebody liked it, somebody now has joined your Facebook group, or somebody sent you this, or this has happened. You don't need to know everything as it happens. So wait until, remember, if at work, you used to do the same thing where you did not check your social media or watch TV or all of those things until you were back at home, please to use the same discipline there at home. So wait until after hours to catch up, and please don't go and say, okay, in my lunchtime, let me start a Netflix movie, because you are not going to stop until it is done. So to make it easier, as I said, turn off the notifications and even go one step further. I like this one. Log out of your accounts. So access to it is not as simple as clicking on the app to open it, because you're going to have to sign in. So those are just some of the tips to prevent you from going into social media and distracting you. All right. So work when you're at your most productive. This one is a very good one. So I had a business owner who once said to me that for his coaching sessions, I'd always assign him a section of a book to read, because you know, part of coaching is you have to read. And he used to say to me, he can't read because when he's trying to read, he's falling asleep in the bed at night and he's never able to finish the book. And I said to him, but is that your best time to read? Because at that time of the evening, you're falling asleep and you're exhausted. So I said to him, when are you most awake and attentive to learning? And he says, in the morning. So I said, well, since your mornings is when you're most productive, I asked him, what time do you go to work? He said 8:30. So I said to you, can you get to work by 8:10? And then when you get to work, shut your door so that your team members and everybody knows that you're not available to them. And then sit there for 20 minutes and read that book with a timer on. 20 minutes you're reading the book, have everything else closed and just read so you can focus. And he was able to finish the book. And that's how he read his books. So we all have different peak times of our day when we're more productive. So identify when you're most focused and plan on working through that time. So I find that there, like my thinking time, I really need to do that first thing in the morning. Sit down, I'm most creative. Then when I actually want to be able to just sit down on just a routine task, the best time for me to do that is in the afternoon. So identify when you're most focused and plan on working through that time. If you know you're most alert and energetic in the morning, then make sure to take advantage of that time by doing your most challenging work times during that period. So we have a thing called Eat Your Frog. And in that book, Eat the Frog by Brian Tracy, he says, yeah, eat that frog. That thing that you know you need to get done, that you keep putting off, that you keep saying, tomorrow I'm going to do it, and you are forever procrastinating. He says, listen, at that time when you are most productive, eat that frog. That's when your brain power is at its best. So if that's the time, if it is 9 o'clock, if it is 5 o'clock in the morning, if it is whatever time it is, eat that frog at that time, because you will know you'll get it done. So if the afternoon or early evening is when you can better concentrate, then schedule your work time or meetings for this time of the day. Just remember that your motivation during this time especially will naturally ebb and flow throughout the day. So don't beat yourself up too much about it. And by the way, in this coronavirus time, your energy also, you really have to watch it very carefully and don't allow things into your mind which will impact your moods, because your energy is going to ebb and flow throughout the day. So be gentle with yourself, recognize that, and that is why I said use that commute time that you would have done in the morning and do meditation, do things that are inspiring, that will motivate, that will help to lift your mindset and give your mind, positive things to think upon. All right. Now, here is the one that we all have problems with, especially those with small kids. So it's very difficult for children to understand that just because you're home doesn't mean you can't give them your full attention. So they're excited, oh, mommy's home, oh, daddy's home. I can spend time with mommy and daddy, and they want to go to you every single time. So again, it's another discussion that we have to have. And so I encourage you to use what we call the stoplight method. Now, kids understand colors. So you'll say to them that, and so you say to them, listen, different colors means different things. So, and for different parts of your work day. So you sit with your family and you say, okay, if mommy hangs up a red circle on the door, if you have a door, when this means you are not to be disturbed. Now, if you don't have a door, you may have something else that you put up, and it's a symbol that says, okay, stop. And when the red sign is up, that means mommy cannot be disturbed. And then green, so that it's okay for them to come in. And if you do that enough and train them on it, then you know what they're going to be doing? They're going to be sitting down and looking to see, okay, when is the green sign on? When is the green sign on? Okay, mommy is available or daddy is available. So folks, these are just some of the things that we can do. So use the stoplight system with your family so they know what the signals are so they don't interrupt you. It's about training and letting everybody understand that, listen, while we're at home, we still have to be productive. Mommy still has to work. Daddy still has to work. Now, try to minimize outside disruptions. So some of us may need to make dentist or doctor appointments, which are really important. So importantly, try to schedule them either early or late in the day. So you don't want it to break your rhythm. When you have to leave in the middle of your work day, it will be difficult to find your motivation again. Now, I should say, this doesn't matter whether it is working from home or working at the office. So one of the things we really need to be looking at is what are the best times for us to actually make these appointments so it doesn't interrupt the flow of our day, because you want to keep your motivation level up. So if you can't do them early in the morning or late in the day, especially because of curfew, then schedule a time in the middle of your day that acts like a lunch hour. Now, what do I mean? What this means, folks, is if you're at home, you're going to set your working hours. So 8:30 to whatever or 9 to whatever. I have a morning coffee break. You could even have a virtual hangout break with your team member, with your peers. You may say, okay, let's hang out on WhatsApp for lunch or for a coffee break for 15 minutes and let's chat, just so that I don't feel so alone. Okay, but schedule breaks in your day, what your work day is like, 8:30 to 4:30, if that's it, lunchtime at 12:30 or 1, make sure that you have those times. And I highly encourage you to develop what we call a default calendar, which is you're going to look at your calendar, and just as how you used to set appointments at work, you're going to frame out for your day what happens in the morning, the appointments and meetings you have throughout the day. And I'm going to say to you, your calendar should have another set of appointments, and that is what you are going to work on. So you may have a meeting set with a team member or a meeting set with a boss to have a discussion, but in your calendar as well, you should have, there's an appointment with Marcia, with me, with myself. And during this time, I'm going to work on this particular activity. Then I'm going to take lunch at this time. So as much as possible, set up your calendar so that you have the things that you are going to work on. Because if you don't do that, then what's going to happen is that everybody else is going to send requests to you and make appointments with you in your calendar for you to do things, and you have not yet said what it is that you want to do for your day. All right, so it's important that you schedule your activities and schedule your lunch times, etc., and then also schedule when you'll run your errands or complete your household task or whatever it is. There is one more disruption, and that is people coming onto your WhatsApp or calling you on cell phones. So this can be another very distracting thing. So one can be the appointments that you are going to set for yourself to go and do errands. It may be to go to the supermarket. It may be to to drop off someone or pick up someone that you have to do throughout the day, which is important. But one of the things you also have to minimize is people wanting to drop in into your time and chat. Just like how people used to stop by your desk and chat and would take up your time and you're like, oh my gosh, I have work to do. People will try to do that by trying to call you on this device or coming in on chat on your computer. So you want to make sure that you minimize those. And one of the things I always say to people is lock down all the applications on your desk. The only one that should be open is the one you're working on. So there are times when I'm coaching clients and I'm looking at their screen when they have to share their screen. And when I look at the bottom of this monitor, there are a million apps which are open. And even while he's sharing the screen, I am seeing pop-ups coming up at the bottom with all people trying to have different discussions. And I'm going, is that how you work for the day? That's why you are distracted. So it's important that we minimize those disruptions as well. Now, I spoke about cabin fever. It was one of those things that a friend of mine who has been working with IBM now for 30 years or more. And one of the things that she's always done was worked from home. And she said the first thing you're going to have to manage, Marcia, is that concept of cabin fever. And what that means is you're by yourself. You're working. So I am aware that not everybody on this webinar today has a family. And so you may be working from home and you are the only person in the house. In that particular instance, it can feel, even if you have a family, some of you can actually have cabin fever if you're working all day in your office and you don't have the social interaction with the co-workers that you used to have, which made you feel like you're a part of the team and connecting with others. So one of the things you can do is embrace virtual connections. So you heard me say that one of the things you can arrange is a coffee break, which is a virtual coffee break. So you could actually say to everybody, okay, let's have a virtual coffee break. Everybody join us on Zoom at 10:30. We're going to have a virtual coffee break. Everybody has their coffee and their whatever it is that they're having, and we're going to just share a video or share a tip or whatever it is. Just going to hang out. We're just going to hang out for 15 minutes as friends, just connecting. So that's what we call a virtual connection. All right, so throughout the day, you may want to schedule some of those so that you can connect with your coworkers, and let them know as well that you're available if they need you, because someone else may be feeling very down, may also be feeling very isolated, and they may not reach out. So I encourage you to reach out to the others and try and set up that little co-working chat, co-workers chat. And also, if you're a team leader, talk with your team about starting a virtual morning or afternoon huddle. So we have morning huddles. We start at 8:45. Everybody gets on, we update each other, we pray first of all, then we have a whiffle, which is what I feel like expressing. And that is really a ritual that we have in Action Coach, which is for communication. So what that whiffle does is that it actually allows everybody in the morning to be able to know where each person is at. Now that can only be done if your group is 10 or less. If you have more than that, then you're going to really spend a lot of time having everybody whiffle. But the thing is to just, it's a check-in in terms of where people are at. And then we just share what we have on our plate today, any challenges we had yesterday, and whose help do I need for today. And that's it, and we're gone. So it's important to maybe start those huddles every morning. Or some of you may want to also meet after hours for a virtual happy hour. You know, so you could even play a game online together, whatever it is, but have those sessions. Sometimes you can get so focused and wrapped up in what you're working on that you forget to take a break. So I saw lots of you say in the poll that you feel as if you just keep working. There is actually no marker. You're actually even working harder than before. So that's why I said it's important that you set up your schedule, what your working hours are, when your breaks are, when your lunch breaks are, and for God's sake, take the breaks. So you must use a timer. So taking a moment, so you can get so focused and wrapped up in what you're working on, you forget to take the breaks, but the breaks are so important. So taking a moment away from your work will help you to re-energize and refocus once you return to the task at hand. So what I'd suggest to you is I use a little egg timer like this. And this is how it looks. It's a very simple egg timer, and you just spin it, because I really like to not use a phone for this one. And you just put it to how many minutes? It's 45, it's 50. If you want to use your phone timer, that's fine. And then you put it down. And you may say, okay, every 45 minutes, I'm going to get up, take a stretch, maybe just, deep breathe, just walk around the office for a few minutes and sit back down. Or I'm going to go and make a coffee, but never ever work for more than 45 minutes without getting up. We've been sitting on this webinar now for 52 minutes. So, you get up and you sit back down. But make sure that you have some breaks. It can be just even saying a short walk, and then just coming back to your desk. But take those breaks, because it actually changes your energy. Another thing as well is that working from home gives you full access to the kitchen. Now, not many of us like to cook. But when you're at the office, you talk about the fact that, listen, now the cafeteria is there, or we have fast food nearby, or or the break room, or whatever it is, and it's all unhealthy stuff that we keep eating. But this means when you're working from home is that you can actually prepare your own snacks and meals. And that's what I'm actually doing right now. So here is an opportunity for you to eat a lot healthier. You have the opportunity to plan and choose your healthy meals and snacks. So it will keep your energy up and allow you to remain focused throughout the day. So I encourage you to plan your meals as well. If you're struggling with staying on task while working from home, kick your productivity up a notch with a time management app. For example, as I said, my egg timer is there. I'm not supposed to do something for more than a certain time, and I use it. There are also apps There are some productivity apps also that will track the amount of time you spend on each task and even minimize your distractions. I'm going to give you a couple examples. They're free apps and you can download them. One is called Harvest. It's a time and expense tracker. So that's a nice one. So that one tracks how much time you spend on different activities, and it also tracks your expenses. Well, right now, many of us are not spending much. We're at home. The second one is Rescue Time. So write these down. Harvest is one. Rescue Time, that's a time tracker and a work log. So you can actually log how much hours you're working so that you're not working beyond the number of hours that you have said, okay, you want to for the day. You have to have some balance. And then another one is Toggle, T-O-G-G-L, another time tracker and work log. So let's just try and find apps that will help us learn how to use them and then use them to your best. You don't want to burn out and you want to be happy and productive at the same time. I love to do something in my home office. So depending on the work environment, you might benefit from turning on some background music or noise. So what I like to do is I go on YouTube and I will look for playlists, and I really do like the sound of water or the ocean. So I'll find one of those natural nature YouTube playlists and I'll play it in the background on my Bose speaker. So I'll have it very nicely there in the background because I like to listen to music. So if you're somebody, however, if you've learned how to focus in a noisy office environment and you need some noise, you know, like some people say, oh my gosh, it's so quiet, then turn on some talk radio or something very quietly so that it fills the silence. Because there are some of us who just do not like silence. We're so used to the buzz of activity. So whatever it is that makes you happy, you find that. You can also use sound to tap into different moods. So for example, when your afternoon crash hits, which is when most of us get exhausted, play some songs that will get you energized. What am I saying to you guys? What I'm saying is that when you're working from home, you really have to stay tuned to your energy and to your emotions. You have to stay more in the present. And when you feel the energy waning, be proactive. Recognize, okay, my energy is waning. What do I need to do? Let me play some music, or maybe let me just get up, deep breathe, whatever it is to change the energy that I have. So streaming services such as Spotify, etc., also allows you to be able to pick playlists that say, okay, I want to get into a productivity mood, and then you put on a playlist. So whatever works for you, just giving you some tips. Remember I said those distractions? Now, this isn't going to happen so much for us now, but again, just as I said, people who would drop by your house, this is not going to happen so much in the COVID time, but we need to say no to the virtual people who are dropping by, as I said, with the WhatsApp calls, etc. So manage that. Now, the other one is this. You have to obey the turn off signal. So when you say, I am going to stop working at 5:30 or 6, now the reason why some of us are working all the way into the evening, and let's be honest about this, is because we are allowing distractions throughout the day that is eating into the time you should be working. So you are not actually working in the allotted time. You're working, taking a break, you're being interrupted, you're doing this, you're getting up to go and watch this TV, then you take a little break, then you come back in, and so you're constantly being distracted by different things. And so as a result, you're finding that your day is longer. What I would say to you instead is all the tips I said before. Set up what your working hours are. Turn off all the notifications. Do not allow people to get into your space. Have your coffee breaks. Have your lunchtime breaks. Have your break in the afternoon. Focus in the time that you're working so that you can say, okay, at 5:36, whatever it is, I am locking it down. When I'm ready, what I do is I get up, I lock my office door, and I walk out into the garden. Or I do something else. It's important, folks, that you have a time that you stop, especially if you have a family. So make sure to set a clear shut off and log out time so you can establish a healthy work-life balance. Now try setting an alarm that will tell you. And one of the things I set an alarm for as well is not just the end of the day. I will set an alarm as well, which says, Marcia, now the day has ended, plan your day for the next day. And I go through my list. What did I accomplish today? Okay, what am I going to do tomorrow? And then I leave the office. So finish up important tasks, tie up loose ends for the day, commit to putting your hands up and ending the work mode, and plan ahead for the next day. And that's the evening ritual. So remember, another thing when working from home, you have seen so many emails on this. Remember that working from home can make you a target for hackers. So make sure that you have virus protection on your computers, your laptops, whatever it is, or if you're working, if your company has Wi-Fi networking policies, etc. Make sure that those are there. Or if you have a VPN, a virtual private network for encryption, most larger organizations are likely to have an approved one. But make sure that you're keeping your environment very, very secure, because this is the time when hackers are trying to come in. So lastly, and I'm going to say this for people who are handling confidential information, close your room's door to avoid disclosing sensitive information. If you can't close the door, make sure that you put away anything that is sensitive to family members or visitors. It doesn't matter. It is the company's confidential information or sensitive information. So make sure that you put that away. It's easy to forget to watch what you say when you're in a work mode. So also be careful that you are not having conversations on the phone or virtually with other family members nearby that they should not be hearing, or people who are in the house that they should not be hearing. So it's very important to be vigilant about that. All right. And so that's it for our webinar today. I know I shared many, many different things. So as you can see, working from home does come with benefits, but it can also present a number of new challenges. So what I'd like now is for persons to share any questions that they may have, so that, let me see what the chat is. The days, okay, what if all of you, okay. All right, let me start at the beginning. It might not be a good idea to have work resources accessible from non-work devices. These are security concerns about that. Very important. So another thing is that you need to make sure that whatever it is that you are doing is in compliance with your company's policies with respect to information security. So very important that you are in compliance with that. Okay, yes, so noisy neighbors, excellent, from Tanya. So you're right, you can cancel out noise of your noisy neighbors for yourself when you're working. But when you're actually in a meeting and you're talking, it's going to be hard for you to do that. So what I sometimes say is, wherever you're working, try as much as possible to work from somewhere that is not close to a window, or as such that you are not, or shut the windows so that the noise does not come in. So if you're going to have a meeting, for example, now I'm in this meeting, I have shut all of my windows, I have on the AC so that I can cut out as much of the noise from behind as possible. And so you may have to do that. But yes, you will end up with some loud and noisy neighbors at times. What if all you have are meetings during your most productive time of the day? All right, so that can happen, in which meetings are being set by people who you report to. And so that's something that you will have to, you can't actually change that time, but that is the time. Now, if that is so, then you will just have to ensure that, okay, I know that this is the time that I'm most productive. We do have these sessions, and do everything that you can then in terms of making sure that you schedule right after that, or even before it, your little productivity booster slots where you can actually work on these things. But try as much as possible to after those meetings that are close to your productive time, to use the time immediately after that to get into what you need to do and do things that will help to manage your energy as well. Let me hear some days. The days are I get to my work at the end of the day. I'm not seeing, okay, so I have that. Are there questions? Okay, any pros and cons as it relates to multitasking? For example, preparing lunch while doing data analysis. Okay, there's no, multitasking is a myth, by the way, guys. You're not multitasking. That is a myth. You cannot do one physical activity, two physical activities at the same time. You're doing one thing while doing the other thing. So what that means is that if, for example, I asked you to type or asked you to say your alphabet, A, B, C, and then I said to you now, at the same time, I'm going to ask you to type to type the alphabet from A to Z, and then I'm going to ask you to count from 1 to 26. I think the alphabet is 26 letters. So you would write that down. If I said to you, now type, now say your alphabet and count at the same time, the time in which you'd be able to do the first task of just doing your letters only. So if I said to you, write down the alphabet from A to Z, how much time would that take? You'd probably tell me around 10 seconds. And then I say, count from 1 to 26, write it out. How long would that take? Probably another, maybe just 8 seconds. So the individual tasks themselves are short, but if I said to you, do them together, write down the alphabet by doing this. A followed by 1, B followed by 2, C followed by 3. Because you're actually trying to do them at the same time, the task would take a lot longer. So sometimes what we try to do is we are trying to listen to a conversation online while typing an email. You cannot do that. You cannot do two mental activities at the same time. So that's not multitasking. You're doing one thing while trying to do the other. And what you're actually doing is stopping one thing in order to do the other, and it defeats the purpose. I really want you to take that into mind. So if you're going to have a conversation, a mental activity, which is listening to somebody, just listen. If you are going to pen an email, then just pen the email, but do not be listening to somebody on the phone and then trying to write an email, because you're going to have to stop one to do the other. All right, so you can't do lunch and do data analysis. That's not going to happen. Okay, do the data analysis, make lunch, because you are going to be making mistakes or doing something in between. All right, or not being as effective or as productive as you should be. All right, I'm not seeing any more questions. Any more questions, folks? Any more challenges that were coming out? So remember, guys, please, multitasking is a myth. I used to think I was a multitasking queen, but trust me, guys, it is a myth. You actually would be better off doing one task followed by the other. You make mistakes and you waste time. Yes, I'm not seeing any. Our company from the stationery and office supplies. No, the company I was saying is Stationery Center Limited. They have lots of home office things that will help you to work from home. That was a company I mentioned, Stationery Center Limited. All right, okay, folks. So we're going to end the recording now. So I will make the recording available to so that we can listen to it at the end. Yes, the recording will be shared, and you all have a very productive week and every day working from home. Remember the important thing, guys, most important takeaway is please, absolutely keep your mental energy up. During this time, and as the days and the weeks pass, we are getting more drained. So keep that mental energy up. All right. Have a wonderful day and take care. Goodie. Bye.